But we begin with the breaking news of this day. Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland supposed to be addressing the UN General Assembly today, but she has cancelled, citing the difficult NAFTA talks taking place this weekend. The speech was meant to be a high-profile one, part of Canada's efforts to raise its profile on the world stage as it fights for a Security Council seat that's coming up in 2021. With that, let's go to the UN right now. The CBC's Melissa Kent standing by. So talk to us about this postponement, Melissa. What are we hearing about it?
Well, this is what we know. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister Chrystia Freeland was scheduled to speak today. At around 11 a.m., we received word that Canada had switched its speaking slot for Monday, and we were told that it was because of the ongoing NAFTA negotiations. Then CBC learned that because of those trade talks, it's quite likely not going to be Minister Freeland delivering Canada's keynote address on Monday to the UN General Assembly. It could be the ambassador here, Marc-André Blanchard, or another minister. Chrystia Freeland is, of course, the minister leading Canada's NAFTA negotiations team. She cut short her trip to Europe last month to travel to Washington for this latest phase of the talks, and has been in Washington every week until this week, when she was here in New York for the annual UN General Assembly. She returned to Canada Thursday evening, and what we're being told is that for now, there are no plans for her to return to Washington, but that she is actively engaged in the ongoing negotiations, and that for now, she'll be doing that by phone from Ottawa. Canada has been saying from the start that it would not be pressured into a deal that is bad for Canada, that it was looking for a good deal, not just any deal. And of course, these negotiations have led to some well-publicized remarks by U.S. President Trump, disparaging the Prime Minister and the negotiating team.
So she is, as you say, postponing her speech, focusing on NAFTA. But of course, that speech was also meant to set up Canada's bid for a Security Council seat. Why was Freeland's speech important in that process?
The keynote address is the main pitch for Canada, why it deserves a spot at the UN's top table. Canada, of course, is in a three-way race with Ireland and Norway for 2 available spots, and it's stiff competition. Norway, for example, is the world's most generous foreign aid donor, and it announced it was running almost a decade before Canada declared its candidacy in 2016. So Ottawa really has some catch-up to do when it comes to lobbying states. Ireland announced it was running in 2005. Yesterday, Ireland's Deputy PM, Simon Coveney, delivered his country's address last night. Here's an excerpt.
Almost a century ago, Ireland became an independent state, escaping a history of colonialism. Ours is far from a unique story, but it is one which allows us, I hope, to empathize with so many of you represented in this room. Like the UN itself, we were born out of conflict. It has shaped how we view the world and our responsibilities now as global citizens.
And there you get a little sense of the slogan. The Irish slogan is, of course, that we have some hard-won expertise and empathy when it comes to the work of the Security Council. And Ireland is also the highest per capita donor of blue helmets in the European Union. It has some 500 peacekeepers across 6 UN missions. And Canada, as we know, has only recently returned to the game of peacekeeping, deploying some 260 peacekeepers and helicopters to the UN mission in Mali.
Melissa, thank you for that. The CBC's Melissa Kent at the United Nations.